Alright, so it's pretty well known that I'm not a big Spider-Man guy. Like that, I'm just not a fan. But I just read a pretty recent storyline including Spider-Man, the Sinister War that honestly kind of converted me. So real quick, if you are a Spider-Man fan and if you want to see a video on all of his Rogue Gallery groups ranked from weakest to strongest, and you'll see that relevancy soon in the video. Smash the like button, 300 likes, and I'll do that video. But yeah, today I just want to talk about a wild ass story I just read, Sinister War, which is I'm gonna do a quick recap, talk about what went on and the trenches that the boy Spider-Man was in for 4 issues. So the run starts off with Peter Parker and MJ on the red carpet. Why? Because she's an actress. Last time I checked in and read a Spider-Man comic, I don't remember her being in the acting business, but that's my bad if I'm completely wrong about that. But it's cool anyway. Makes her a lot more interesting as a character. And so Peter Parker's walking with her and stuff, and then her director shows up, and there's something weird about him, but he's not dangerous to Peter, at least doesn't set off the spider sense. And later we find out that the director is actually Mysterio, and Mysterio is trying to turn his life around on the low ski and is using MJ to try to tell Peter, like, yo, in due time, I'm gonna tell him I'm cool now. Like, there's no beef. I'm a good dude. I direct movies now and shit. Like, I'm not hood anymore. Which is kind of funny, but yeah, that was actually their plan. So, anyway, after the carpet event, they go to the premiere of the movie, and that's when the Savage Six shows up. By the way, at the start of this whole thing, we had seen Doctor Strange talking to Mephisto and being like, yo, why are you messing with my boy Peter? I know you're doing some hood rat stuff behind the scenes. And Mephisto was like, yo, I can't do anything to them that they didn't agree to before. But you're like, oh, Peter's been dealing with Mephisto maybe, which is kind of crazy to think about. So we going back to where we were, right? The Savage Six shows up. The Savage Six starts laying waste to the area. Peter, of course, ducks off to the side and is like, damn, I need to be Spider-Man real quick. Turns into Spider-Man. Tarantula runs up on MJ. MJ starts talking shit, which is hilarious because that just shows how there's like no respect in the game for Tarantula. She's like, yo, I will dead ass fight you by myself. Like, no one's afraid of you, bro. You're B-list at best. Get out of my face. Spider-Man pulls up, starts beating up Tarantula. Then his homies jump in. He starts getting beat up. And then the Sinister Six arrives with Dr. Octopus. And they start beefing. And then other groups start showing up. Let me cut right to the chase, right? Um, there was this dude behind the scenes, like this demon from hell, or at least some kind of being that operates within the confines of hell, and his name was Kindred. He basically assembled all ops of Spider-Man, and whether they were relevant big time ops like Rhino to obscure ones like Boomerang. And he said, yo, check this out. I rigged all of your heads with a device to basically, it was like a Suicide Squad type deal. And except this was on the level of you'll also literally burn in hell if you disobey and die by that machine. So not only would they physically die, they would be damned to literally hell for eternity. So he was like, the only way you get out of this is to go kill your main op, the one whose narrative you helped shape, which is Peter Parker. And this is why I really like this run, and it kind of made me a Spider-Man fan, because it was basically a celebration of his narration and how every character he's dealt with, whether we think about it on the surface or analyze it deeply, regardless, they played a big part in shaping who Spider-Man became and was. So he ends up beefing with like 6 different groups, 36 total. He gets stabbed. He's in Kindred's graveyard. Doctor Strange is arguing with Mephisto. Mephisto's like, yo, bitch, let's just roll dice, right? If you're feeling lucky, if you're feeling strong, we can roll dice. And if you win, Spider-Man will, be freed to an extent. And obviously, it's off panel, but they get the plan. Spider-Man is fighting all these characters like Doc Ock, Kraven, all of them, Taskmaster, runs into Boomerang. And keep in mind, Spider-Man's getting dragged. Like, he was getting the shit kicked out of him. And this is because literally all these villains are desperate. Like, they don't want to die. And they don't want to be burned to hell for all eternity. So they're like, yo, we're just going to fade him. So they're all fighting bloodlusted. Well, at one point, he runs into Boomerang, who I don't think a lot about. When you say Boomerang in comics, I think Captain Boomerang. Just not a relevant character to me. Don't take offense to that, Boomerang fans. He was hella dope in this run. So, yeah. But anyways, to all 7 of his fans. He was dope because when he saw Peter, he was like, yo, run. And Spider-Man's like, what? Because he had already been stabbed. He's weakened. He's like, huh? Like, why are you helping me? And he was like, bro, just run. And he screams, yo, Spider-Man set off my boomerang and sets off an explosion. Spider-Man starts dipping. The dead show up, right? Like, literally dead ops are raised. Ones he hadn't seen in forever. Even Juggernaut was raised. And he's scrambling. Eventually, I think it was Moreland catches him, the vampire. Or a demon. It's not a vampire demon. Pulls up on Spider-Man. Is about to fold him. And he's like, yo, I've been waiting to take your soul forever. I'm going to turn you into a husk. Boomerang pulls up. Frees Spider-Man. And dies. Takes the L to save Spider-Man. And it was amazing because you're like, damn, like, it was a beautiful way of showing how even characters we don't see as primetime or relevant can make an everlasting impact on the narrative of some of our favorite characters' stories. And even Peter realized that because as he's fighting some of the more obscure villains, he's like, yo, I'm going to be honest, you guys weren't that like relevant to me. I'm very shocked that we're fighting right now. Like, I didn't know y'all were that deep with it. So seeing Boomerang die and make such a heavy impact was super cool to see. Spider-Man gets inspired, runs up, starts punching people harder. He's like, yo, I don't care if I'm stabbed. I'm getting out of here. Boomerang, like, did all that to save me. And characters were like, why did Boomerang do that? And another character was like, because he wanted to die on his own terms. He knew he would burn someday. Might as well choose when and for why. Right? So Boomerang went out a real one. W in the comments section for Boomerang. But anyways, getting back to Spider-Man. He's eventually saved from the fact that Dr. Octopus got pissed that they were put with a device on their heads. Because initially he had made a deal. But when he was made into a slave, Doc Ock ain't going for it. He just needed a little time to destroy the devices, which he did. And he was like, yo, Peter, get out of here, though, because some of these people actually will kill you. They still don't like you, device or not. And Peter was like, bet that. And Mephisto, it pans out at the end to Mephisto and Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange won. And Doctor Strange is like, yo, run them pockets. What'd you do for me? And he was like, oh, Spider-Man survived, but he did. He was in a horrible situation, took L's, and there's big losses coming on top of losses, obviously, he already took. So, with that in mind, what do you guys think of this run? Did you like Sinister War? My only complaint was at some points I was like, oh my god, there is so much going on. I don't really like it was hard to get a full grasp on it at the time, but then I realized it's kind of that's just the setting. Like that's how Peter felt this entire story. Chaos from start to finish once the first team pulled up. Literally in a graveyard, just getting the shit kicked out of him from every op, from relevant ones to irrelevant ones. It didn't matter. They were all on his ass. It was crazy to see. I loved the run, and it actually kind of swayed me on being a Spider-Man fan. So let me know what you guys think of the run. If you want to see all those teams that pulled up ranked from weakest to strongest, run this video up to 300 likes. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. It's been your boy, YFE, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.